If you keep self-sabotaging, maybe it's not sabotage. Maybe it's self-protection. This is what we're going to be talking about on Weight Loss for Women Over 40 today, why your body is fighting diets. So welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Nikki T, and I got to be honest with you, recording this episode has been quite challenging today. I recorded an amazing version of it. The only person that heard it was my dog. Forgot to hit record. So, after a lot of curse words and expletives, I am going at this again. There were a couple other takes that didn't go as well. And I don't like to edit, but I do like to have the podcast come out. So, here we go. Welcome to the podcast. I want to welcome anybody that is new, that is a new listener. Welcome to my world. And I want to also thank all you consistent listeners that show up every week and listen to this podcast. So, this podcast really punches holes into the whole dieter's mentality. It is going to wake you up to the truth about what we Gen Xers were told about losing weight. So, this is the last week to grab 5 reasons why you aren't losing weight. It is a free ebook, and you can go grab it at Weight Loss for Women Over 40, 40 at the end, .net/book. So, do you ever feel like your body's working against you? And don't lie, because I have thousands of women, I feel like, come to me and say this. So, but what if I told you your body's not rebelling? It's really, she's feeling controlled, she's feeling restricted, and she's feeling ignored for way too long. So today I'm going to introduce you to your inner rebel and how to finally work with her. And what we're going to talk about on this episode really is what is your inner rebel, how control creates rebellion, the signs your body is in rebel mode, and how to shift from domination to collaboration, and also how to rewrite your weight loss story from punishment to partnership. So, what is your inner rebel? The inner rebel is that fiery voice inside of you that seems to sabotage your best weight loss intentions. It is really like that teenage version of you, but it's not actually sabotage. It really is self protection. And this rebel version of you shows up when your nervous system has had enough of being dominated, restricted, ignored, and punished. Whether it's chronic dieting, perfectionism, shame from childhood, or trauma, your body remembers being controlled and it fights back. So the inner rebel is really a stress response. It's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So, but in the context of what we're talking about, of food and body image and control. So when you're in fight mode, you push back, right? This is where binges show up. This is where the fuck it's happen, or screw it, I'm not doing it anymore, or you just start skipping workouts. The flight response is when you ghost all the things that you say you want to do. You avoid mirrors. You avoid looking at photos of yourself. You basically just stop showing up for yourself. Freeze, you are stuck. You're numb, you're paralyzed by overwhelm, and you're afraid to make a move. The confusion realm usually kicks in here. I don't know what to do. If I only had that one piece of the puzzle, I would know exactly what to do. I just don't know. Did that diet work for this person, but this one worked for me years ago? Like, you're in this constant spin and you don't do anything. And the last one is fawn. And this is where you kind of gaslight yourself into believing like you don't want to have the body that you want. So you kind of are like, well, I'm not that bad, or I'm not as bad as that other person, right? So this rebel isn't trying to ruin your progress. It's really trying to protect your autonomy. So how control creates rebellion? This is on a physical and emotional level. So the more you try to control your body, the more your body fights back. Strict rules, extreme plans, and punishment-based fitness workouts create internal tension. So just like the teenager, when you tell them you're not going to that party, and they sneak out, right? They will rebel. They are like, screw you, I'm not listening to your rules anymore, and they leave. So some control triggers look like mental control, where you're doing a lot of the calorie counting. You're doing a lot of the math for how like the calorie balance, right? The energy in burning, how you're looking at your watch constantly, seeing how many steps you have, seeing how much you burned, and does it even out? And trust me, I get this because I know when I moved out of my old house into my apartment, I found binders. I'm talking big binders, 1 inch binders. I at least 8 of them. And they had all my calorie counting from what I ate, from what I burned. It's a lot of obsession. Now, granted, I'm glad I went through that because I have an understanding of how it all operates and I can help you guys out with that if I was doing the calorie counting thing. But we're not doing that anymore. So mental control also is about the guilt. It's about obsessing over the good versus bad food. I talk about this as the ping pong method, right? I should be eating this, I shouldn't be eating that, but I really want that, but I don't want that. That constant back and forth that you have going on in your brain. Next is emotional control, shoving down your feelings, right? I talked about this on my podcast, Feelings Are for Sissies. If you grew up as a Gen Xer, chances are you were told to suck it up, buttercup, don't cry, show no signs of weakness, that kind of thing. And we stuff down our emotions. And what happens is because we don't want to deal with those emotions and we don't want to feel them, we emotionally eat. There's also faking motivation, like this kind of fluffy, oh, I can do it. I'm gonna when you try to like smother yourself with affirmations that have no emotional context to them, or you're constantly kind of trying to get a fix off that inspirational video or whatever, right? It's short term. The other part is self-criticism. You're very critical of yourself. The third one is physical control. So this looks like over exercising. It looks like ignoring hunger and satiety signals. It looks like forcing yourself to just go do it. This rebellion shows up through symptoms, not just in your mindset. So you can kind of notice the actions that you are doing, the actions that you are taking, and just take a step back and notice how you feel about those actions because that is the true driver of what is going on. So signs that your body is in rebel mode. So you may be thinking you're failing, but these are actually signals that your body is resisting domination. So they look like binge eating or out of control moments after restriction. This was my life when I was a ballet dancer. And even in those first couple years when I was being a personal trainer and being taught the dieter's mentality. So as a ballet dancer, you're basically, in my experience, we're told don't basically anything, like starve yourself until the performance comes. Then once the performance is over, go out and eat. Go eat as much as you want, stuff yourself to the gills, and then on Monday we start all over the process, right? Because then that's the whole new season of the next performance, right? Um, I've talked about on this podcast about how I used to, and I talk about it in my Crush Your Cravings course too. Cameo cookies, are you familiar with them? Nabisco used to make them. There were these oval looking, kind of like a golden Oreo, but better. But they were oval shaped. And I'm telling you, I could eat an entire package of those and not think twice about it. And so I would constantly go from this, I'm going to eat quote unquote healthy or clean or whatever, and then I would binge eat. So I don't classify myself as bulimic or anorexic or anything like that, but I did have some disorganized eating patterns. And binge eating was one of them, right? So I would just restrict and then I would snap and then I would go get the Cameo cookies or the cream filled powdered donuts. I talk about a lot of this in the Crush Your Cravings course um, because I used to feel like donuts used to call to me in another room, like this weird Alice in Wonderland, like eat me type thing. Another way it shows up is fatigue or burnout, especially around workouts or food planning. Again, there's so much mental energy that you put into for dieting. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's this constant, frenetic, fast, frantic chihuahua energy of like, oh my gosh, I gotta stay on track, I gotta stay on track, or else you think you're just gonna turn into this like pufferfish as soon as you go off, right? So fatigue and burnout look like, especially around workouts, when you just keep pushing through and pushing through and pushing through, like there is a progression, there is an element of, yes, kind of pushing your body, but not to this like do or die mentality. And the same thing with food planning, whether it's counting calories or whatever diet mentality you're in, it's a lot. And I know this because I used to do it. But the figuring out the calories, figuring out the food, doing an app that tells you what the food is and all that stuff, it's just so much mental energy that you exhaust yourself, right? And you burn out from it. And then when you're at the point of like I remember bringing food, this is when I was training for fitness competitions, I was bringing food to soccer games. Like, I mean, literally, like I had a thing that would heat it up and keep things cold, and I would eat it on the sidelines. And it's it's so exhausting. And then when you want to go out and eat at a restaurant, forget it because you're like, screw this, I'm going to eat whatever I want. I don't have to like, do all the things. There's another part of lack of motivation, right? This shows up when you don't want to do your workouts or you just don't care, right? Kind of like the fuck it's. Especially when they're paired with dread and resentment. Like if you're resenting your workout, if you're resenting eating the cardboard food, these are red flags, right? The rebel is going to come out, obsessing over food, and then feeling powerless around it. So same thing, like if you're obsessing over your food and what to eat and when to eat it and how to eat it and all this stuff, when somebody presents a chocolate cake to you and that's your thing, you're like, holy crap, I don't have the, like, I can't resist, right? And your inner rebel kicks in. Like you'll have the ping pong match of like, I should, and I should, I should, and I should. And then your inner rebel goes, screw this, I'm eating the chocolate cake. Then there's another avenue of avoidance of body care. So, meaning even if you want to feel better, even if you want that body, you're like, no, I'm not doing that. You just totally avoid it. So, these aren't signs of weaknesses, they are really signs of survival. Your nervous system is dysregulated. So, shifting from domination to collaboration, you don't motivate or strong arm a rebel, think inner rebel, inner teenager, into compliance. You just build trust so she feels safe enough to relax. So I want you to imagine the teenage scenario where you're the parent and you are telling the teenager that they can't do XYZ, right? And you may strong arm them and you may force them and you may be very dominant and you may have a kid that submits and become submissive to what you are saying. But at some point, that kid is either going to snap as a teenager and they will rebel and they will go out and do all the things that they were told they can't do or shouldn't do, or it's going to show up later on in their life, in their 20s and their 30s or whatever. It will come out. So you need to build trust in yourself for your inner rebel to make her feel safe enough to relax, right? There's a difference between like strong arming, right? I mean, think about how that feels to you. If you were told you can't do that, you may do it for a week or two, but you will rebel. Absolutely. So this is how you shift from war with your body to a partnership with it. So create smelly. Is that even a word? create small daily, not smelly, small daily trust rituals. This could be listening to your body, listening to when you're hungry, listening to when you're full. It could be resting when you feel tired. It could be listening to your cravings with curiosity, not with fear. It could also be speaking kindly to your body. So, emotionally led affirmations are super helpful. If you don't understand what I'm saying with that, it's not the normal affirmations where you just kind of brainwash yourself into repeating it. I did a podcast episode on this. It's labeled something affirmations and mantras. You could just binge listen the entire podcast vault if you want to find it, but it is in there. But it talks about the meaning behind the affirmations because there has to have an emotional connection or else affirmations are just lip service. You can also do mirror work. So mirror work is when you look in the mirror, you look in your eyes, and you have a conversation with yourself in the most loving way. And if you've been in dieter's mentality for a very long time, you're going to feel like that is the stupidest idea ever. Again, I know this from experience. But looking at yourself in the mirror, even if it's just your face, like look into your eyes and have a conversation with yourself. And it may feel silly at first, but I'm telling you, the more you do it and the more you connect with yourself, it's on a whole nother level. Your eyes are your windows to your soul. So have a deep conversation with yourself in a loving way and see what happens. You can also write an apology letter to yourself, to the body parts that you've hated, to the process that you've been trying to implement with your dieter's mentality that isn't working. But you want to speak kindly overall to yourself, okay? The next is celebrating non-scale wins. So if you become a client of mine, I do have you getting on the scale because you're not coming to see me in person. If you were seeing me in person, I would be weighing you and doing all the calculations, things, and you would have no idea because I wouldn't tell you. But because it's an online program, to get feedback from you guys and help you, weighing in is important. But that is not my goal for you guys as a coach. That is not my goal for my clients. I don't want you guys on the scale. I don't want you to be a slave to the scale. I don't want you to be tied to it. I don't want you to have that number mess up your entire day or make it the highlight of your day. So noticing energy levels, right? Instead of the scale, noticing energy levels, noticing your strength. Are you getting stronger? Are you more flexible? Are you more emotionally regulated? That's a big one, right? Are you sleeping better? It's not about the numbers. I don't care if you weigh 150, 200 pounds, 250 pounds, or 100 pounds. That number on the scale means absolutely nothing about you other than the physical pull of your body, the gravitational pull of your body on this planet, on a piece of metal and plastic. That is it. You make that scale number mean something about you every time you step on it. I could go on a whole rant, but I'm not going to. So, the other thing is practicing consent with your body. So ask it before your workouts. How are we feeling? Like do a systems check. Honor its yes, no signals. Oh, my triceps are a little tweaked today. Okay, go a little easier on your triceps. Tune into what you really need physically and not appeasing your brain. Okay, so there's a difference between listening to your body, listening to your primitive brain, and listening to your sophisticated brain. Because your body is a physical response, right? Your primitive brain is always going to want to sit on the couch, eat Doritos, and watch Netflix. And your sophisticated brain is going to want you to go for those dreams and aspirations, but it needs to check in with your body to see where you're at. Because we tend to plow through, and what we really need is rest, right? That do or die mentality, that no pain, no gain, that just do it mentality. And sometimes we just need to rest. Sometimes we just need to stretch, or maybe go walk in nature. Or maybe your body does want to lift weights. Maybe your body does want to get on that treadmill and see how fast you can run. Listen to your body. The other one is pause before punishing. So when you are tempted to restrict, ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Because the more you restrict, the more you pull back. It's like a bow and arrow. You pull that sucker back. At some point, you can only pull back so far, and then the arrow shoots out. Always ask yourself, what do you actually need in that moment? Because if you're in restriction mode, you're going to snap at some point. This isn't about being lazy or giving in. It's about building a foundation of mutual respect for yourself. So rewriting your weight loss story from punishment to partnership. So what if your journey wasn't about shrinking, suffering, or fixing? Because I got news for you. We do not need fixing. You do not need fixing. I don't care, again, how much you weigh. I don't care how many diets you've tried. I don't care what you have done in your life. You are exactly where you need to be. You do not need to be fixed. Like, let's get that cemented in our head. Now, usually when I say that, I get kickback from like, yeah, but if I am like content or I feel like I don't need fixing, then I'm not going to want to do anything. Not true. When you get good at like, I'm exactly where I need to be, there's this moment of clarity because it's peaceful. It's like, I'm good right here. But you can also want to do cool shit. You can also want to get that lean body, but not from a I have to fix myself space, from that would be really cool and awesome space. So, what if it became a path back to self trust, a reclamation of your voice and your needs, a process of becoming your own safe place, not being your own bully? So, let's rewrite your narrative. So the old story is I can't be trusted and I need to control myself. Again, if you are trying to control yourself, you are going to snap at some point. This is why I love my no foods off limits policy inside my program, because it's such a mind shift. Like, I have a client right now who just started, she's in the first month, and she was really nervous about implementing the no foods off limits. Um, and she was worried she was going to gain weight because, again, we have this past history of like, no, I did no foods off limits and I ate the entire buffet. The way I teach it is so different and so freeing that you guys are so afraid of, like, if you say no foods off limits, that you're just going to eat everything in sight and you're going to gain and gain and gain and gain and you're never going to stop, right? It's not true. It's like that inner rebel. So let's create a new story. My body responds to love, not force. I listen, I adapt, and I evolve, and I just do cool shit because I want to do it. I just want to get that body just to try it out, just to do it. You don't need another plan. You need a new relationship with yourself. So here's the truth that most diet programs will not tell you. Your inner rebel is not the problem. She is part of you that has had enough of the shame, enough of the guilt, enough of the restriction, enough of being told that her body is wrong or it needs to be fixed. She's not here to destroy your progress. She's begging you for partnership. Control might give you short-term results, but it always leads to a rebellion because your body does not want to be dominated. It wants to be heard. When you're binging, when you're exhausted, when you're resisting everything you should be doing, in quotes, should, that's not failure. It's feedback. Your body is telling you this does not feel safe. And that's your opening to shift from force to trust, from domination to collaboration. So instead of asking, how do I fix this? Start with, what does my body need to feel safe with me again? How can I build trust instead of control? So your next chapter isn't about punishing your body into shrinking and getting leaner. It's about rewriting the whole story, where you become the partner, not the enemy. Because when your body feels safe, she stops rebelling. She starts responding. And that's when the real lasting changes begin. So your body isn't the enemy. She's the protector. Stop trying to dominate her and start listening. So if you felt moved by this episode, you can get more like this and go deeper. If you are feeling like your inner rebel is in charge and you want to create a partnership with your body and your mind while losing weight, I am offering an exclusive 24-hour flash sale for you, my podcast listeners. So get Master Your Mind to Change Your Body, the complete program for lifetime access. This includes group coaching calls. So this program will take you through the entire Jumpstart program. Crush Your Cravings is in there, and so many other programs are in there. But you also get weekly group coaching calls for a lifetime. Okay? So you get support from the beginning of your journey all the way through, well, everything, right? From the beginning to the end. And as a special bonus, I am pulling back the curtain on how I lose weight using my method. So you can see it in action. It is a bonus course inside the Master Your Mind to Change Your Body. And I want to be completely transparent with you. That has always been my goal with my social media and this podcast. And I recently shared on social media how the last 5 years have been really an emotional roller coaster with me, having realized what was going on in my marriage, to deciding to leave, getting a divorce, moving out on my own, and doing some major, major healing work on myself. I allowed myself to gain weight. I talked about this on the podcast before, so I've kind of been playing with this. Like, I gained some weight in the beginning and then I lost it. And here's the thing. I know that when I allow myself to emotionally eat because I couldn't handle what was going on, I have the tools. I knew I could lose weight whenever I wanted to, and I did. I would say this past year, I definitely have kind of stepped back a little from weight training, from doing my traditional workouts, from really kind of paying attention to myself. I guess I was kind of in a no, not fawn phase. I was in a freeze phase probably. Because I wanted to spend more time healing my inner child. I wanted to spend time healing my trauma wounds and things like that. And again, I don't recommend that unless you have the tools to know that you can implement it whenever you want to. So, with that said, it's time. I'm at the point. I am ready to get back to my leaner version of me, and I am going to share my glow up inside of the Master Your Mind, Change Your Body program. So you can lose weight with me if you like. You can see how I implement it, and you will also be getting all the tools that I use. You will also be getting group coaching calls if you sign up within the next 24 hours for the flash sale. So if you want to get into Master Your Mind, Change Your Body program and get the flash sale that is going on, go to weightlossforwomenover40.net/flash, FLASH, all lower caps at the end there. Or you can click the link in the show notes. Again, this is a 24-hour flash sale, and it's going to end June 21st, 2025 at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you check your clock if you are not in the Eastern Standard, basically the East Coast of the United States or Canada. So grab it because it's an incredible deal. It's an incredible flash sale. So go there, weightlossforwomenover40.net/flash, all lower caps at the ends for flash. All right. So if this resonated, please share it with a friend who's stuck in the same fight, and let's help more women break free from the shame cycle and really come home to the bodies, come home to that leaner version of you, and we can do it together, right? So thanks so much for being here today. Join me next week when I have another client spotlight. I absolutely love her story, and I know you are too. So I will either see you on the next podcast or I will see you in Master Your Mind, Change Your Body with the 24-hour flash sale. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you sometime soon.